Hey there everyone, Paladar here, and welcome back. It's time for another World of Warships video, and today we're going over the premium Russian Tier VIII cruiser, the Mikhail Kutuzov, otherwise known as the Kutuzov. So, before we go too far, I'm trying a new format with these videos to try and keep them shorter. At most, they should now be 21, 22 minutes long, including the post-game screen, if the game goes a full 20 minutes. By such, I'm going to be doing overlays. I'm going to directly admit I'm taking some of the presentation from this from Earl Grey. If you haven't seen his videos, search YouTube for Earl Grey. He's a World of Warships contributor from Europe. He does some really good work, and he does this type of format with overlays rather than talking about it in port and then moving out. So we're going to do that, try to keep it shorter. Let me know what you guys think. The Mikhail Kutuzov, quickly becoming one of my favorite ships in the game. Not just premiums, just overall one of my favorite ships in the game. It's top 3 right now for me. And that's pretty funny to say because this is a light cruiser. A light cruiser at Tier 8. So it's rocking 12 152mm guns. Now, it's not the only ship that does this. The entire British line is 152mm guns all the way up through, and even her sister ship, the Tier 8 normal tier line ship, the Shapayev, has 152mm guns. Traditionally, I don't like these caliber guns. They're great up till Tier 5-ish, but starting around Tier 6 and 7, the range of engagements just expands out to where I feel the flight time of their projectiles is just too hard to really be effective at that 15-kilometer engagement range that goes on. Sure, when you get in closer, say 12 to 10 kilometers, they're amazing, but then you're in a light cruiser that gets deleted at those ranges. The Kutuzov, though, is the exception. Simply because if you look down in the bottom at the consumables, she's running smoke. She has a smoke consumable. I'm also running hydroacoustic. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Now, fully kitted out, so I'm running Superintendent on my Captain, and I also have the premium smoke consumable attached. It gives me 3 of them. That's enough to basically get you through. 4 would be great, 2 would not quite be enough, but 3 smoke consumables allows this ship to do things that most other light cruisers can't. Yes, the British line does get the smoke screen also, but they can't set the fires that the Kutuzov can. These 152mm guns that she has, they have a range of 19.1 kilometers. They have a fire chance of, by default, 12%. Mine are currently 15% because I have the demo expert skill going. So that's 15% chance to set fires, which really, combination of 8-second reload, 19.2 kilometer range, smoke screen, and hydroacoustic surge makes for a devastating combo. Now, her numbers are normally not going to rack up super high damage numbers. Yeah, she can set a lot of fires, and you can do good numbers, but you're not going to be just blowing ships away like you can in some of the higher ones. What the Kutuzov is great for is area suppression, area denial. She's very good at getting into an area, and as long as you have someone to spot for you, you can pop smoke and you can dissuade ships from coming into that area. The rate of fire, combined with the fire chance, combined with just everything she can do out at long range, makes it tough to really push against this ship. And that's mostly what you're going to see here today. Just slowly use the ship to give ground, but whittle down targets as they come in. And that's basically what we're setting up here right now. So the first thing with this Kutuzov, as I said, she is a light cruiser, and you got to keep that in mind. So I'm playing her very much like you would play a Cleveland, an Atlanta, a Shores, along those lines. But unlike those ships, you do obviously have that smoke screen. So I came in behind this island, I slowed down, and I kind of knew when I creeped out I was going to take some damage. But I kind of had to do it also because you only get about 3 puffs out of this smoke as you move forward. So if I'd popped the smoke before I was moving forward, it would have stopped deploying before I was fully out beyond the line. And if I'd been going too fast when I was moving forward, I wouldn't have been able to stop before it had gone. So I kind of knew I was probably going to take some damage there, but I wanted to creep out in front of this island, set up smoke, and now my objective is I want to find targets that I can hit before they go behind that island, and I want to set them on fire as much as possible. We have that Edinburgh. He's burning pretty good. He's going to take quite a bit of damage. I think I have 2 fires going at him. We're now going to launch the Benson. Here comes the second big advantage of this ship. That Benson launched those torpedoes directly into my smoke screen, and the Benson's torpedoes are at least 10 kilometers, maybe 12. And you can see he was only 10 kilometers away there when I was shooting at him, so he probably launched them from about 8 away. Thanks to my hydroacoustic search, though, got plenty of time to back in, out of there, get behind the island. I'm not going to take any of those damage. Now, this does put me in a little bit of an odd situation, though. If you look down in the bottom where you can see my my smoke consumable, it's down to 133 minute 33 left on cooldown. I know from experience, at roughly a minute 25, my smoke disperses. So normally, when I'm generally playing this ship in most smoke screens, at the minute 30-second, I want to be going full throttle, angled away. Since I had to back out of that area to avoid those torpedoes, it means I'm kind of sitting still when I come out of there, and I'm going to pay a little bit of a price for this. Luckily, that Nagato was shooting at somebody else for that first volley, so it allowed me to turn out, and I probably should have reevaluated my target and turned back into that New Orleans. That New Orleans could go away pretty quick. Oh, I see the Edinburgh. I want to take a shot at him, not because I'm trying to kill Steele, but get rid of him. That's one less Tier 8 cruiser out there shooting at us. And he was one volley away from dying. Somebody does get him. It looks like the Missouri got him. Or no, Missouri got somebody else. Doesn't really matter. The Edinburgh's going to go down pretty quick. Probably that Fletcher there. Benson comes around the corner here, and the rate of fire of these guns and the dispersion of these guns, you notice at this 8 to 12 kilometer range, the arcs on them are actually pretty darn flat. The arcs don't start to really climb until beyond 14 kilometers. I'm about to run into an island here. I managed to turn this ship just in time to pull out. Just in time. I still have to cut my speed really hard, but I get the rudder around. The rudder shift on this ship is pretty good. Actually, while this plays out, let's talk a little bit about the overall stats of the ship. So, this ship, in terms of cruiser HP at Tier 8, she's above average, if not great. She's sitting at 40,700 by default. Ships like the German line, they tend to be up around 45,000, 46,000. However, it's a good bit more than both the American and the Japanese line have. They're sitting much closer to 35,000. So you're kind of middle of the road in terms of HP. In terms of armor, you basically don't have any. Your Citadel belt is relatively low to the water. It does stick up a little bit, but only, I would say, a meter or so above the water. It's fairly low into the water. So plunging flat shells right at the water level will Citadel you. You have no protection belt over that. It has 100 millimeter armor on that. Anything is going to penetrate that if you show that broadside. And really, that's going to be the key to surviving and playing this ship, is protecting your Citadel from things. Even beyond that, though, you're going to take heavy AP damage. The entire ship, in terms of armor, is very low, very weak. You're going to get from everything 203 millimeter and beyond that is going to penetrate you and do heavy damage. Heck, even destroyers straight in on your broadside are going to penetrate you. We will see here that friendly Akatsuki did manage to wreck that Nagato, and I'm surprised. I thought that Nagato would actually survive that with about 25% health, and I'm now going to try and get this Baltimore, who is currently grinding along the hull of that Nagato as it sinks, keeping him pinned down. Rounds. We've already mostly talked about the guns. You do have 12 152mm guns every 8 seconds, 15% fire chance with Demo Expert, 12 by default. Something you're not going to see in this replay is the AP rounds. The AP rounds on this thing are actually pretty darn good for a light cruiser. Now, you don't want to use them against a battleship other than in a last-ditch effort under 8 kilometers. But like this Baltimore here, if he had sailed broadside onto me for another half a second, or if I had a good shot at him when he was up against that Nagato's carcass, I would have been firing the AP. You will surprise cruisers with that AP. You don't want to fire at them when they're bow in, but if you get the broadside of a cruiser less than 12 kilometers, AP all day, you will surprise them. You can do 30k salvos against cruisers where you'll hit for 4 to 6 Citadels. It's really good AP ammo. Excuse me. And now things start to get hairy here in this video. So right now, that's a Missouri coming at me. Obviously, you can see that. And he's at darn near full health. We haven't actually covered the Missouri yet on this channel, though if you follow World of Warships, you probably already know. The big thing about the Missouri that kind of sets him apart, he's a little bit more stronger than an Iowa bow-in, but the big thing is he has radar. Now, the radar is only up for 25 seconds, and he has a 30-second reload, so he can only really get one salvo out during that radar scan, but it does have a 9.2 kilometer range. So at this point, I've basically accepted I have no armor. If I try and run from my smoke screen and get out of it, he's going to get me before I get away. So I'm kind of I decide I'm going to sit in my smoke screen until it dissipates, and I'm going to light him on fire as much as I can. When he uses radar, I'm probably just going to die. That's my plan for this. I don't know if this guy has pulled the radar off, if it was on cooldown for some reason. I don't know why it would have been on cooldown. or if he just didn't know how to use it, he never radars me. And as such, I sit here and I just wail away on this guy. I burn him stem to stern. I accumulate close to 80,000 points of damage off of this Missouri, just burning him down left and right. And we'll let that play out. We do get real lucky right here, I think. So my smoke's about to dissipate. He's going to fire a salvo, and he fires it over me at my friendly carrier directly behind me. That might have saved my bacon right there. The fact that he shot at the carrier rather than at me. Had he held his shots for 2 seconds and the smoke dissipated and he fired at me, I probably would have eaten those pretty hard. We do have a bunch of enemy dive bombers coming in here, but the combination of my AA with the carrier AA, we're going to eat these things up pretty good. Let's continue on. We were talking about the rounds. So AA defense, let's talk about that. The Kutuzov does have a pretty good AA rating. Now, she does have the option for defensive fire cooldown. You'll notice I don't have it running. That's the other option that counters or could go in the number 2 slot where the hydroacoustic surge is. Now, my thought process here is this. Pretty much every single round has a destroyer dropping torpedoes. 1 in 4 or 1 in 5 rounds has a carrier. So I go with the hydroacoustic surge just because it's something I'm going to get to use more often. That's my simple numbers. This has bit me in the ass a few times. In fact, it almost kills me here in this round right here. You'll see that coming up in a little bit. But I've had rounds where a carrier just comes in, and this is a big, long ship. She's fast, and she's got a pretty good rudder shift, but she has a big turning radius because she's such a long ship. So when torpedo bombers come in at you, if you don't have that defensive fire cooldown, you're pretty much guaranteed to take 2 or 3 of them. And it has gotten me killed in the past. I still justified that right now at the current meta of the game, very few carriers. I'm going to stick with the hydroacoustic surge. It's going to play more often. And there's a Missouri, and you can see we went from about 20,000 damage to 120,000 damage just off that Missouri. We ranked up so much damage off that guy. It was crazy. It was hectic too. And there was definitely luck involved. Had he not fired that salvo at the carrier instead of me, I'd probably be dead. Look, I came away with 8,600 health. In terms of the gameplay going on right now, we've lost most of the map. We're pretty far. We're actually relatively close, mostly because we've sank all of their battleships. All their battleships are gone. There was a New Orleans. I don't know if you saw it. He was in the footage very briefly. He came out from behind the island just north of B. We saw him for a half second before he disappeared. He was down to 1-shot health, less than 5,000 health. So there is a New Orleans round. And in fact, I'm going to be a little cautious when I push up here to try to get on D and cap him, because that New Orleans with those 203s, if he has AP loaded and I show up and he has a broadside on me, like I come around an island, he's sitting there, he will wreck me in one salvo. So I'm a little cautious about that pushing forward. Benson just went out, so now we're looking at just that New Orleans, which is all but 1 shot, and Ogovi, whatever the heck it is, the Russian destroyer, and the carrier, which just showed up right there, the Lexington. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to fire on him. Concealment on the Kutuzov. Similar to as we were talking about before, pretty good top speed in terms of, well, talking about with its maneuverability, pretty good top speed, pretty good rudder shift time, 5.2 seconds with the rudder shift mod 2 mounted. Detectability, though, ties directly into that large turning radius. It's a large ship. Your detectability is not very good. I am running concealment mod on this thing, which is reducing it by 10%, and we still have a 12.7 kilometer detectability range. It's pretty bad. Now, I only have a 12-point captain, so I don't have the next level. Being able to get the 15-point captain will give me another 10 or 12% off of that, which would actually give this ship a chance to blind fire. Now, it's only at the very maximum range. You'll be able to blind fire from about 18 to 19 kilometers. You have like a 1.5 kilometer range. And here we go, incoming dive bombers. Two of them. First one hit, I'm on fire, but that was only 1 drop. Don't put it out. Wait for it. Let the other ones come in. Oh, those missed. I got real lucky. 5,200 HP. Here we go. We're going to keep on coming around. So yeah, the detectability on the ship, it's as you would expect with a large cruiser. It's pretty darn bad. Not really much you can do about it. That just is what it is. But as you've seen with this gameplay, the way this thing can, with its smoke, with its hydroacoustic, being able to see torpedoes and everything, this thing can just hold a flank like few other cruisers really can. Even a high-tier British cruiser couldn't quite hold the flank like this just because they couldn't set the fire. They'd have to worry about just pure damage output, and while they definitely could do more, they couldn't set the fire. There's the Ogova, whatever the hell it is, and he wants me. And the scary thing is, he can take me. I have 5,200 HP, he's firing AP at me, If he gets me in the Citadel, he will take me out. And I have, basically, I either turn in here and make it so he's hard for me to Citadel, or make it so I'm hard for him to Citadel, or I turn out and avoid the torpedoes, because he's going to try and drop torpedoes on me if I turn in. So I turn out, and I just get lucky. He doesn't Citadel me. It takes me almost down. Where are we at? 1,100. Can I reload before him? Yes, we can, and there we go. We're now up to 147,000 damage. We saw the Lexington briefly. He's in there somewhere. Here comes another set of dive bombers. But lucky for me, off to my front right now, in came the Baltimore, I think it is, pulled in, and he's got the defensive fire cooldown going. You can see he's clearing these guys out for me. Oh, there's the New Orleans. What the hell is he doing out there? 374 health. He's got nothing left. Put that volley out. Oh, no, his engines are running, so he hasn't just stopped there, so it's got to lead a little bit to the left. We'll get that. Put that out. Someone's going to fire at him. Let's see. Who's going to get it? Who's going to get it? I was the better shot. Yeah. That's 4. Now, can we get the 5? I actually call out for it. I don't know if the Baltimore gives it to me or just doesn't see it, but you'll see here. I'll actually go ahead, and we're going to get the Kraken here in a moment on this Lexington. Spoilers. Spoilers. I actually call out in chat, CV gives Kraken, although I can't type. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, there we go. And there's the Lexington. Smoke screen is just starting to dissipate. Battleship fires in. The battleship does enough damage that my salvo hits and kills. Had it been vice versa, and my salvo hit before the battleship's salvo hit, the battleship would have got the kill, most likely. So, yeah, the Kutuzov, an extremely strong ship. A powerful ship, though you have to play her smart. You have to be very aware of your surroundings, your angling, your turning. You show your broadside, or if you get focused on by 2 or 3 battleships, you are gone. Pretty good AA rating, if not amazing AA rating. If you put on the whatchamacallit, the firing on it, you can burn down a lot of airplanes really, really fast. But for a flanker, a ship to hold the flank, to hold the second line and really support, she is pretty darn amazing. I highly recommend her. I don't know if she's worth their price tag for her. I got her out of a Santa crate, so she cost me a $5 Santa crate. Absolutely worth it at that. She's quickly become one of my favorite ships. The amount of XP and credits I've earned on this ship are just insane. And that was my best round with this ship, but I'm consistently in that ship getting 150 to 200 rounds on target, 80 to 110,000 damage, 1 or 2 sunk ships, 15 to 20 fires. That's like a normal round in that ship. There's the occasional round where you sail out and just instantly get citadeled and boom, you're gone. Those definitely happen, but they're pretty darn rare. You got to be aware of your citadel belt. It is very weak. You got to keep an eye on your concealment, your detectability. You're going to be seen and you got to be ready. You got to be aware of that. But if you can do those things, you can set yourself up at 15 kilometers from battleships and you can just burn them all day. You're going to have 3-4 fires going at any one time, and they're going to be very angry at you. I really like this ship. I think it's pretty darn awesome. That does it for now, though. Until next time, though, this has been Paller. Thanks for watching.